After the last episode I did about how you can easily take the data and make some charts for your investing, I got some requests. Please show us how you scrape the data. Is it hard to do that? Can we do it by ourselves? And the answer is yes, you can do it by yourselves, and it's not a hard thing to do. It's not a very sophisticated method like writing a scripts to procedures and so on and so on. It's a very simple method, yet you can't leave it totally alone. You'll have to check it from time to time if everything is working fine or not. Usually it's kind of fine, but at some points I noticed that I had to look at my screen from time to time. So if I left the screen alone, like for the night for the data scraping, well, once it stopped. Well, there was some unexpected error message and my method stopped working because it was unexpected. So you'll have to take a look from time to time. It's not full automated, but it's quite automated, and it will make your life much easier if you want to scrap the data from, actually I think, any website which has some kind of structure you are taking on. So it's almost from any website. Okay, so let's jump in. No coding required, just to let you know, it's really easy. Let's jump in and let's see how to do that. You probably remember this is the file we have started. We have ticker symbols in here, we have the names, and we want the history of dividends that were paid for these companies. You can find the history on nasdaq.com market activity, well, basically on Nasdaq website. And we can see that here is the history of our dividends paid. But as you can see, it's only for one company. You don't have a list of all companies that you could copy and paste it. So let's automate it. As we can see in the URL, the beginning of the URL is everywhere the same. Nasdaq.com, market activity, stocks. Then we have a ticker symbol. Let's take a look at our Excel file. We have a ticker symbol here as well. Let's copy this one. Let's replace this one with ABM, enter, and here you go. You have another company history by easily changing this part of URL. So first thing what we have to do, we have to make a list of the URLs of the companies we want to copy the data from. So let's open a new Excel file, and as the beginning is the same everywhere, be sure to copy everything, just not the ticker symbol. So that means all slash and other symbols that has to be included in the URL. Paste it. This is the beginning. This is gonna be our sticker. So let's copy this one as well. And the end of the URL when there is a slash. So be sure to copy the slash as well. Here we go. Now we have a structure, but of course, these are different cells. We can't copy 3 of them at once. There's gonna be gaps if you try to copy something from Excel data. Let's make everything to one cell, one column. And we can easily do it with a very simple formula. Let's start writing our formula. This is the first part. Now, to connect the cells, you need to type and symbol, then brackets, double brackets actually, and end symbol again. Double brackets is if you would want to enter some kind of text, you could add additional symbols. As we want everything to be in one cell, it's empty. As you can see, no space, next ticker symbol and brackets, and again, and the last part of the URL. Enter, here you go. We have a formula showing our URL. Great! First step is done. We have a URL for the stocks we want to copy. Let's go to our Excel file with all ticker symbols. They are here. So basically you just need to copy all of them. In this case, I'll copy just part of them as we don't need all of them. Let's paste it, keep the text only. Now just drag and drop this part and this one as well. Excel automatically changes the numbers in the formula. So as you can see, the URL is changing as well. It's different it's C4, let's go C5 at the end. Yeah, so that's why you can just take on the corner, drag and drop it down, and it will change. If you copy paste, it will do the same as well. So you can choose whatever you want, just to drag and drop or copy paste. Okay, first step is done. We have the URLs of the stocks, companies we want to get the data from. Let's see what next we have to do. Basically, what you would need to do, you would need just to copy. I'll do the first step manually, then paste it. As you can see, they're very capital letters. Browser automatically changes to lowercase. And the next thing, you will need to copy the data. So you can start, then you can hold your Shift button and finish. Ctrl C. Let's open a new Excel window and we can paste it. Now, you don't need to change anything here, like simple text or not a simple text. It doesn't really matter, because we will save everything in CSV format and everything will be flattened once you save it in CSV format. So don't worry now about formatting, or if you are doing this from any other website, about the color, about anything like that. Everything will be gone. Just CSV format usually is slightly bigger in size than simple Excel file, so keep note about that. If you have a huge file of thousands of rows, it might be an issue, but of course you can convert it later on without any issues. Now we have first data. Let's go back to our URL file and we have to take the second one as well. Copy. Actually, we can make it smaller. We don't need such a huge window here on the screen, so that everything would fit nice and clear. Basically, this is how much we need. Now for this window, place it on the other side, and this is the main browser screen. Let's make it smaller as well, so that everything would fit nice and clear on one screen. This will make your work process much faster. Of course, if you have two screens, like you can see a corner of my other screen here as well, you can just make everything like part of the windows on one screen, part of the other screen, and it will be easier. But as I have quite a big monitor, I can do like this as well without any issues. Ctrl V, it loads up. You just start. Of course, you have to start from the corner, go down, Shift, Ctrl C, paste, and the new part is here. You probably already noticed, but if we just copy the data like this, we will not know for which company the data is. So here is one more important step to do. You have to add the ticker to this data as well. So let's delete that data for now. We just copied, and we need to add the sticker for this data as well. Type the field name ticker, and it was for this one. Ticker is here, Ctrl C, Ctrl Shift, and we'll go to the end. Now as we paste the other table, our data before, it goes to the down, but usually it goes just to the end of the table, so up until here. And then Ctrl V. Here is the ticker symbol. Now here is the beginning. Let's copy this data again. Ctrl V. Now, once you just copy the data, press right keyboard button and you will go to the right side. Press it here. Ctrl C, Ctrl Shift, and will go to the end of a table. And as you can see, now it goes very nicely to the end of the table. Ctrl V, page down, and it will go to the end of the table. But Andrew, this is nowhere near the automation. We have to do this manually. This is not what we are looking for. Yes, this is just the, let's say, second part of this tutorial. You have to try to do some like beginning manually, that you would know the steps you have to record. And for this one, for the last step, we will use some kind of mouse recording software. You can use any. I'm using quite simple mouse recording. Actually, let's start it. So I'm using Mouse Recorder Premium program. It's a very simple program. I think you can get it for free if I remember correctly. because, well, I don't remember, but there are plenty of these kind of programs that you can just record how your mouse and your keyboard buttons are being pressed, and it will do everything for you automatically. Later on, you can type how many times you want everything would be repeated. So we'll just do that, and we can type like 100 times and it will do this automatically for you. So in this case, we're gonna use this program to record what we just did on our screen, and then we will try to let it do all the work automatically. So now, as we have a program and we know what steps we have to take to that everything would go smoothly, that means you have to start from the same field all the time. The beginning has to start from the same where you have finished before. So for example, in this table, we will finish on the sticker of the previous company because it will be added in here. So the starting point is the company we just copied, ADM, the sticker of the company actually. Then URL is not much is changing here, and in here as well, everything, well, the pointer should be in here because we are going to record keyboard buttons, not mouse button, because this is Excel and this is automated work. So let's press this record button and let's try to record everything. Yeah, so first press the mouse button somewhere where the button would not be activated. So this is not the best part. It would be better to press somewhere here. Yes, let's stop it. Let's delete that and record again. Now we are pressing here. As you can see, now 1 down and 2 to the right. Ctrl C. Now let's press it here. Just in case, I will press Ctrl A, Ctrl V, Ctrl A to select and then to delete the URL in case if it would not be selected automatically. Let's go a little bit down. Shift, mouse button, Ctrl C. Now on this window as well, press somewhere on the space. As you can see, it's not at the beginning. Press Home button, Ctrl V. Now right mouse button, go to where the ticker symbol is. Press here as well. Now we want the ticker of this company. Ctrl C. Ctrl Shift End. Ctrl V. Page down. Home button. Actually, it was not necessary to press the home button at the end. And now let's stop the recording. Before I stopped the recording, I accidentally pressed on some additional mouse buttons, so we can easily delete that. So just Shift, select. As you can see, it shows the mouse movement, and we can delete this part. Great! Once we recorded all the steps, let's test it out, if it's working or if it's not. So for the next company, it should be enough just to press this button. Okay. It goes to the next company, selects it. Of course, later on we will increase the speed because now it's doing quite slowly, and you can see on the screen that it's showing the steps we are taking. Now, as you can see, it stopped. This program in particular has the names of the windows where it is taking the steps data from, and the URL of the browser, of the Firefox, of the page that was open for the previous company is different. So what we have to do, we have to modify the script a little bit more. In this case, we can see that it stopped in here. It was Firefox and it was ADP. Now it's a different company and it will be different later on. So let's delete that one and we should be good to go. Let's go back to the previous company we have started with And let's try again. It will start from the beginning. Yes, it will copy the same URL because we are copying the same company. Yes, and now you can see it's changing the URL. Yes, it starts to copy. In here, as you can see, it has less data. So the program copies like additional text we don't need, but we will remove it later on. Yeah, and now everything is being pasted to the Excel. Now it copies the ticker symbol. Of course, manually you can even delete the wait time and everything will be even faster. But of course, with the faster speed, you have to make sure that the page will have enough time to load up, because Excel files, everything will be fine with them. What is not so fine is that the data might not be loaded in here at that moment when we copy the data. Everything looks quite nice, as I can see. Let's try to increase the speed and let's let the program to repeat the steps more times. So let's open it. Let's say we want it 5 times and double speed. And let's see what's gonna happen. Yes, next company, URL. The main thing about this speed increase is that this page, the Nasdaq page, might not be so fast to load up. So just keep in mind that if you do too fast, you might not get any data at all. Yeah, and now we can see it's doing a pretty good job. For the Excel on the right side, we should use a slightly different combination of buttons because it's leaving a little bit of space. We don't want, of course, we will remove it later on, but less space, less work. So yeah, I think I use the page down, but if you press Ctrl Shift End, you will go to the end as well, and your pointer will go to the end as well. So this is how you can automate your work, that everything would be loaded kinda automatically. You can like drink some water and enjoy how your computer is working. Very well, good computer, very well, very well. Like I said, this is not the most sophisticated method. You will still have to keep an eye on your PC if it's not crashing, if it's not showing some kind of error messages or anything like that. But more or less, this way you can copy data without any effort. You don't have to keep copying everything like on your computer, on your keyboard by yourself, and you can leave the method like this. So this way I actually copied all the tickers from the companies, and the data, it was like more than 1000 lines, and this method worked quite well. I just left my computer for the night, and in the morning everything was done. Okay, actually not everything. Later on, some kind of very strange Excel messages appeared. I'm not sure why. Yeah, in here everything is fine for now. So I'm not sure why that message appeared before, but so yeah, so you can leave it like for the night, but make sure, well, keep in mind that it might crash. It's not that sophisticated method that it would go around the error messages. It will do what you want, but if you do a structure like I did, you should be good to go. You should be able to copy the data without many big issues. So as we can see, it ran for 5 times. Yeah, it copied 5 companies automatically, and it would go on and on like this for a much longer time. So now, as you probably remember, there were some empty spaces and some additional text we don't want to have. So let's fix that now. So as we can see, the data was copied. We have some gaps in here, and this window is a little bit too small to work with the data. So let's make it bigger, but make sure that if you not finished the process, you have to have the windows more or less in the same positions, because as the mouse is working automatically, it's pressing on the some parts. If you make this, for example, file bigger, it will, well, it might press on some button and you will get some unexpected error message. Like I said, it's not a bulletproof method, so you have to be sophisticated when working with it. So we are going to leave these two like they are and just make this on the whole screen. So let's go to the beginning, Ctrl Shift Home, we can easily go to the top, and let's add the filters on these columns. Sort and filter and filter. Now, as we can see, if we look at the data, it's filled, yeah, everything is filled very nicely. Now we're gonna choose a column which is filled everywhere. So in this case, all the columns is filled and you can do sorting by any of these columns. But in some cases, it might be that not all the columns are filled, because some data, let's say, has dates in here but does not have dates in here, or something like that. Actually, I noticed this before when I was working with the whole data, the one I copied, like everything. So just keep in mind that once you do a sorting, you have to select the column that has the data everywhere. So for example, if we would do a sorting by the ticker symbol in here, that would not be okay, because it has this additional text we don't want in our data. This date, yes, this date is probably okay. It should be okay as well, because I think there are entries on all the dates as well. Let's take a look, for example, here. You can see that, for example, here is the data, this one is empty, and this one has the data as well. Probably the first column will have the data through entire table. In here, for example, this column is not okay to use because here are some empty spaces. And if we do sorting by this column, this data will most likely be lost. Let's make a sorting. Now, why we're doing the sorting and not the filter? Because here is a lot of data and we don't want to select everything one by hand. So we'll just do a sorting, and all the data we don't need will get at the bottom. We'll just delete the data, and that's all. So let's do it from A to Z, and now let's go to the end. Okay, looks like it's still not doing the sorting as it should, and I think it did the sorting just for the first part of a table. So these gaps are really not okay in this case. Let's see. The last one 431. Let's go up. Let's format as a table. My table has headers, yes. And as you can see, it's thinking that everything ends at 142. Actually, let's add just 0 at the end, and we will have a huge table that definitely goes to the end with all the free gaps. If we go down, we can see that this is already part of a table. Let's sort it from A to Z, and we can see everything is sorted quite nicely. At the bottom, we can see those empty gaps and everything else we don't need. Start with this one. Well, the first line we don't need. Ctrl Shift End will go to the end of the document, of the table. It doesn't really matter. Now press Delete button on your keyboard and everything is deleted. Now, of course, if you save this as an Excel file, it will remember that the end of a table is somewhere like 1000 row or so on, and it will place the ticker of the first company that much long, and we don't want that. So we will save it as a CSV file and all format will be removed. Let's do that. Ctrl S. Yeah, we can use the downloads folder, it's totally fine. As the format, as you can see, this is the Excel, this is the old Excel file, and this is CSV file I was talking before, just not the Macintosh, but DOS. Type the name, let's call it data, and you can see the message is being showed that some data might be lost. So the data that will be lost is all the formatting, so the table and so on and so on. Let's close the file. And let's open it again. And now we can see it shows that message again. Let's make it whole screen. All the formatting is gone. If you press Ctrl Shift End, we will go straight to the end of a table. We can start from here. Let's make it smaller and let's try to repeat the process. So in this case, I'll leave just 2 times. Let's see if it's still working or not. Let's play it. Yeah, it finishes with that company before. It copies, loads the data. The data loads quite fast. We can still use the speed of 200, and as you can see, it's copying with additional data again. Now it goes here. Size is the same. Oh, and I see a first problem. The other window is gone. So this is what I was talking about before, about the sophisticated method. As you can see, the Excel file, the one we used before, disappeared for some reason. I don't know why, but it just disappeared. So let's fix it. For some reason that file went to the right side as well. Yeah, as we can see, both files on the same part of the window, and of course we don't want that. The root cause, I think, is this one, that it's trying to change the files. So let's delete all the programs and let's leave just the buttons on the screen. As you can see, now it has just the buttons. Okay, let's try again. Let's see how it goes, because before, yeah, I noticed that for some reason when program, this mouse recording software, tries to use the window names, it's not working all the time correctly. But if we're using just mouse buttons, usually it does not do any unexpected things. And yeah, as we can see, it's much better now. It's copying the data as we would want. So this is how you can scrap the data from actually any website you would want. It's a sophisticated method, like I said a couple of times before, and it will not work everywhere. That's for sure. The website has to have a structure that it's the same on all pages, and of course you'll have to clean up the data a little bit more. But if you are not a programmer or any professional user, you can use this method to get the data you want, the data you want for your analytics, and do the work, like we did in the file in the previous video. Clank, 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 over there. And we used this data to see on which months dividends are being paid. So, I hope it was useful. Please like, please share the video, please subscribe, and hit that notification button. Also, my patrons, as usual, will get all the data I got while scraping. Actually, it's already there, so you can download this file for free. Again, thank you for watching, and until the next time.